So the number one problem I see people make, and I made myself, to unlock the deep squat is misplacing your entire focus on improving ankle range of motion. But as we will discover, your ankles are just one piece to the puzzle. So if you feel you can't get beyond that holy 90-degree angle, or when you do, you still have to round your back in order to actually perform the deep squat, even though you bullishly attacked your ankles, this video is for you. Because as we will unravel, the real reason why you probably can't catch your deep squat yet is because you're still in the unclear about one concept that once you understand it will make unlocking the deep squat feel like an ease in the park. So today I'm not only going to reveal what that concept is, I'm also going to highlight the single best exercise there is to unlock the deep squat. So hang on tight. But before we do, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button so I know you want more videos like this. So what is this mysterious concept? Well, to answer that question, we first have to look into why people are actually always trying to fix their ankles first when unlocking or when trying to unlock the deep squat. If you look at people that sit extremely comfortable in a deep squat like Ben Patrick, better known as knees over toes guy, you can see how much ankle dorsiflexion or range of motion at the level of the ankle he possesses. However, what you don't see is the sheer amount of time he spent on improving his ankle mobility, which is a lot because the ankle joint is primarily made of connective tissue in the form of ligaments that has a lower blood supply compared to muscle tissue. And lower amounts of blood supply means that it needs more time to recover based on the stress we impose on it, and potentially needing longer to adapt until you can reach more range of motion. And here's something else you often don't see in those videos where people express a large amount of ankle mobility, which is the amount of pronation at the level of the foot that allows the shin bone or the tibia to drive forwards. And if you can't properly pronate the foot in relation to the tibia, you will be stuck at the ankles for a very long time. So does this mean you should place more focus on the foot? Well, not exactly, because as we will discover about the ankle joint is just one piece of the deep squat puzzle, because your ability to pronate and drive the tibia forwards is a result of what happens above at the level of the knee, and even higher up what happens at the level of the hip. Basically what happens at each joint at the lower extremity, the leg, which means that the deep squat isn't just a tissue problem, it's more a positioning problem, and more specifically how you position yourself in relation to gravity. How easy it is for you to deep squat comes down on how you're managing your center of gravity. Now, what is your center of gravity? Your center of gravity is the point of your body in which optimal balance is achieved. And this is often located around the belly area, a little bit in between the pelvis and the navel. Now, to conceptualize this, imagine having a plank and then placing it on top of a triangular shape. Now, if that triangular shape would be a little bit towards the right, the plank would fall towards the left. Vice versa, if you place that triangular shape a little bit to the left, the plank will fall right. So what we're trying to do is we're always trying to find that middle point in which optimal balance can be achieved. And the same thing goes for our body. Now, we always try to achieve a state of balance, because what happens if we're out of balance? Well, we fall. And what fall represents is a decrease in likelihood of survival from an evolutionary perspective, which means from a mechanical standpoint is that our center of gravity would then fall outside the base of support. So you can think of the base of support as the total area that is in contact with a support. Now, if that center of gravity falls outside, it will mean that we have to either correct ourselves or else we would fall. We would be out of balance. Now, to achieve balance, what we want to do is we want to align perfectly with the unforgiving force that is always pushing down on us, which is gravity. So what we can do is we can draw an imaginary line from the base of support all the way up, which represents this line of gravity. And the better we are in line, no pun intended, with that line of gravity, the more balanced we are. So if we keep our center of gravity in line as we descend with the deep squat, the less effort it will take us to get towards the bottom position. So the further away the center of gravity in relationship to that base of support, the more effort it costs And the closer we can keep the center of gravity on the base of support, the less effort it costs. So the whole goal of the deep squat is to try to keep the butt as close to the heels throughout the entire descent, which is never one joint in action, but actually the entire positioning of the lower extremity. And there are just two types of directions we need to know and apply to achieve a effortless deep. Direction one is internal rotation, so rotating the hips, the tibia, and even some elements of the foot inwards to achieve max dorsiflexion at the level of the ankle, but also to move and descend through the deep squat in certain positions. And direction two is going for more external rotation of the hips, external rotation of the tibia, and even some external rotation at the level of the feet, so that we create enough space to let the pelvis sink and bring the butt as close to the heels as it can. So if you can't unlock it, now you know it's more than just a stiff ankle alone. It's more about using that center of gravity as a mirror so that you really know, or you can highlight if you need more of an internal rotation direction of the lower extremities, or you need more of an external rotation direction. But what if you can't express either internal rotation or external rotation? Well, you could go the route of performing 16 different exercises to express 1.356 more degrees at a specific joint angle, or you can just use the single greatest exercise there is in an intelligent way to unlock your deep squat. Now, which exercise am I talking about? The deep squat itself, of course. Because wouldn't it make sense to spend more of your time, energy, and effort on improving the actual thing itself rather than wasting all of that energy, time, and effort on other exercise? It's like saying to Messi to score more goals, even though this is not possible, that he needs to dribble more. But that doesn't make any sense. If you want him to score more goals, then have him practice scoring more goals. And this is what we want to do with the deep squat. We want to use the concepts that we addressed earlier and apply it in the position itself. Because as we know by now, the deep squat is actually a beautiful shape where a combination of joints is working together to acquire that position, which means they don't work in isolation, but they work in integration. So let's use the deep squat, or the shape of the deep squat, as a diagnostic tool to see which cues can help you out. Now you can skip ahead and check out the demonstration and apply it immediately for yourself. But if you want to know if the deep squat should be a number one priority for you to address specific restrictions, I got something for you. I've created a DIY assessment for my one-on-one clients that helps them spot certain restrictions in 6 positions. And these positions capture the ranges of motion at our primary joints in motion and spot where potential restrictions and pains lie. Now it's completely free and you can download it if you go to my website in the description below. Plus, once you completed it, the first progression of the exercise pattern will be available to you too. Now let's continue. So this brings me to the weighted deep squat, which some of you might know as the goblet squat. But the powerful part here is that we have a weight that will help us keep the center of mass close to the base of support, allowing us to tinker with the positioning of the lower extremities in a way we want. So what we want to do is train both directions to strengthen our joints in more range of motion. So first, let's explore the internal rotation direction. Use a weight under the heels so you have an easier time training the end ranges of the ankle joint. Now lower yourself until the bottom position. Then once you're there, place the elbows against the knees. Next is contracting the hamstrings to get the butt as close as you can to the heels. Really forcefully contract. This will signal the nervous system that you have control over that range, allowing you to express it safely. Now, when we're contracting and bringing the butt close to the heels, we also want to push the knees inwards while giving hard pressure with the elbows. This will strengthen the internal direction of the hips and the tibia. Now, when you do, keep the feet evenly on the ground to avoid excessive pronation. Contract for 5 to 10 seconds hard until you're in the end range, then reset, go up and go down again. Next is doing the external direction. So again, we're lowering until we reach the bottom position like before. First, again, we drive the butt to the heels. But once we have placed the elbows on the knees, we're driving the knees outwards and have the elbows help us contract at max range of motion. So it's really about externally rotating the knees and the hips as much as you can, and you use the elbows either in a bent way of the arms to express that end range of motion. Now this time around we again want to keep the feet evenly on the ground to avoid excessive supination, because in doing so we're really targeting hip external and tibia external rotation and also a bit of hip abduction. Just like before, contract 5 to 10 seconds hard until you're in end range and keep that contraction present also when you're in end range. Then reset, go up, and then you go down. Perform the internal and external direction for 5 repetitions per direction, and you can do this for 1 to 2 sets for 1 to 2 times per week. The most crucial part is that you keep a max contraction present through the internal and external direction and in end range. That is super critical, because as I mentioned already, it really strengthens not only the tissues, but it also signals the central nervous system that it is safe to explore that current range, but also ranges that lie a little bit beyond your current capacity. Now, over time, as this will become easier, then you can start to eliminate the weight, but you keep the similar contractions present in the pattern. So now you know how to use the deep squat in an intelligent way to see which areas of the lower extremities you need to address to acquire the deep squat on autopilot. You can perform this once or twice per week. Make sure that the intensity is high and then leave enough room for the recovery to do his magic. Try it out and let me know how it goes. Now, if you want to fast track results and achieve pain-free athleticism in less than 2 hours a week, where we focus on strength, mobility, and the spine, either check out my website or check out the full protocol that helps people in an accelerated way to achieve that athleticism. Both can be found in the description below. Now again, make sure to like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.